everybody, and welcome to ESO Weekly 4. Oh man, we're in a new month, October the 4th.
Yes. How many of these episodes have we done? My God.
Too many.
We are so consistent, too. Are we ever going to take a week off?
Hopefully. I would like to actually do something on a Friday.
Yeah, I would love to have, like, one of those social lives people keep talking about, where, you know, you
leave the house.
Yeah, that'd be cool one of these days. But
anyways, I am Kyle, and with me as always is Josh. Hello, sir.
Hello, Kyle. Welcome.
Yes, and this week we don't really have a whole lot of new news, do we? But something we do have, and this was talked about last week, but of course, you know, minutes after we released the last week's video, we learned that guild stores, there's a new thing where there will be specific locations throughout Tamriel that guild stores will be allowed to pretty much put their stores up for sale for non-members, which is a huge step in the correct direction.
Yes.
It's still not auction houses, but it's definitely a good step, so that's something. Then we also have a bunch of information that has been released on Tamriel Foundry. So thanks to them, they have a bunch of info on class skills, racial passives. There's also a couple different weapon skill lines. And then they had this really massive amount of polls that they had, and they released it all in one article called ESO by the Numbers. So we will cover that as well.
Sounds like a whole lot of fun, my brother.
Yeah, right? Right? So first thing, let's talk a little bit more about this whole guild store thing. So before we learned that there weren't going to be auction houses, and that was pretty much a big letdown for us because we enjoy playing the market on the auction house. We learned that they were going to have guild stores instead, which would basically just allow guilds to put up their wares for members to search through and purchase. You wouldn't be able to like haggle the price down or anything. The prices are just set, and a guild member can come and say, oh, I need that, and buy it. But non-members weren't allowed to use those guild stores, which was rather limiting, thinking that, well, you only have, what, 300 members is around the number they're looking for each guild. So if you have a maximum of 5 guilds you can go into, that's a maximum of 1,500 people you can essentially trade with.
1,500 people was the cap. That's if you are in 5 guilds, each maxed out to the limit of 300 players per guild. That was the most you were ever going to see as far as trading-wise. Other than the very, very, you know, base way of going about trading and just going into a city yelling, trying to sell something, trying to sell something. This whole idea now that the guild stores are going to be able to set up a shop. Now, do we know any of the details about what the shop's going to look like? Is it a physical store that's going to be a standalone thing? Is it going to be a building kind of like an auction house where you go and you can flip through these guild tabs and see what they're selling?
Well, this was from a interview with Nick Conkle over at videogamer.com, and the way he made it sound like was that they were going to be physical stores. Because they will be spread out throughout Tamriel, so you actually have to go to them to look at these things, and then guilds can choose whether or not they want their stores to be up there for other people to look through and purchase from. But again, you still won't be able to like haggle the prices down or anything. It'll just be a set price basically, and you can choose to buy it or not.
Sure.
Which is cool though. You can still play the market because you can still go from place to place, see who has the cheapest price for a specific item, buy that, and then take it over to another place and try to resell it maybe through your guild store or something like that and try to make a profit.
It could definitely make things interesting. There's no doubt about that, and it's going to put a special emphasis obviously on the guilds, because you could be a part of some big trading guild, like say the East Empire Trading Company Guild, and go about it that direction. Personally, at this point, it's pure personal preference, because I think that now this makes this extremely viable, where before we were only limited to 1,500, I'd say that's a broken system. I would say get rid of the guild stores, don't have them. At this point, I'm saying, okay, I could definitely see this working. Now, personal preference, I personally would still like to see a global auction house, but again, at this point, it's personal preference. This guild auction house system where you're actually setting up shops is something that's viable now. I can see it working, and it's something I'm actually looking forward to.
thank you guys for actually doing this.
So now that we know more information, let us know what you guys think. Do you have big thumbs up for the guild store system? Are you leaning still more towards the popularized and tried and true global auction house system? What's your preference on that? Do you want to see something new from the Elder Scrolls Online with this guild store setup, or would you like a global auction house? I'd be very interested to see where the wind's blowing on that.
All right, true enough. All right, so let's go on over to TamrielFoundry.com. If you'd like to follow along, feel free. So we'll be going through the ESO by the numbers article on their website.
Sure, and we'll link these articles in the description below so they can take a look at those.
So the surveys they were having, they had about, I would say on average, about 1,300 people that had participated in most of these polls. So a pretty good chunk of people, but still, not a huge survey, but better than nothing for sure. So the first thing that they were asking was the whole, well, obviously, what alliance are you going to join? Pretty basic question. And an interesting thing with this one was the fact that, well, Daggerfall wasn't last. That was weird. And the fact that Aldmeri Dominion was actually last in this one.
Yeah. I definitely feel like I see this poll, and I see it more as a Tamriel Foundry poll than anything else, and I definitely take it with a grain of salt, because you see this and your first initial thought, oh man, that's probably how it's going to be at launch then, right? I mean, it's a decent poll size of people, definitely a good pool, but at the same time you're thinking, well, the people following the game right now, months and months before it released, are probably the more dedicated players. Your average Skyrim guy who's gonna look into the Elder Scrolls Online is just gonna probably buy the game at release, and that's it. Is probably not following the game now. I could see this poll tipping way more towards the Ebonheart Pact than it already is. Right now, the Ebonheart Pact is only in a lead by like 1 or 2%, and I could definitely see that changing more as when the game actually releases. I also tend to think that I think the Tamriel Foundry has a very strong PvP community for obvious reasons. They're into the whole theory crafting and that sort of thing. And I've seen a lot of Daggerfall and Ebonheart Pact guilds form up around that as well. So, but yeah, an interesting poll nonetheless.
Let's go into, since you were talking about race and everything, let's go into some of the more popular race choices in the poll. It seems that, well, specifically the leaders of each alliance definitely seem to be the highest ones there, being the Altmer, the Bretons, and the Nords. All are the highest up there. But then we see Dunmer also very popular. The Bosmer and even the Khajiit, surprisingly, are fairly popular. That was a surprise. And even those Argonians, as much as they get made fun of and everything, a lot of people like them. I mean, I like them. That was actually my main choice. Had I been on the Ebonheart Pact Alliance, I would be playing an Argonian myself. I like beast races.
Sure, because they're so interesting, you know. I play these fantasy games to become something else entirely, and human races have always been so boring to me, so I would gravitate more towards the beast races just for that alone.
All right, let's go into classes. What class have you really even thought yet of what class you prefer?
Yeah, I mean, I don't like to say, I know you like to come out and say, oh, this is the class I'm looking for, this is the race I'm looking for. I've always changed my mind so many times before the release, and I never really know until I'm in front and I'm actually making my character and getting a feel for him. Then I will actually know what I'm going to play. But at the moment, when I first go in on that day and when the game finally launches, I'm going to go for a Paladin type, so a Templar, heavy armor wear, probably Altmer.
All right. On the poll, though, you see that Nightblade actually has the highest thing there, which actually isn't a big shocker because think of how many people love stealth in their test games, and that is the stealthy class. So there's no surprise there. I'm actually surprised by the fact that I guess Dragon Knight isn't higher, because that always seemed to be like a popular one there because of the whole Fiery Reach chain pull thing that people love so much. So I'm surprised that's not actually higher up there. But other than that, nothing too shocking.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to see Nightblade is going to be in that #1 spot competing with the Dragon Knight, as you said, because of stealth. And the Dragon Knight is that he's that melee character. I think that is going to very closely compete with the Nightblade for the #1 most chosen class in this game. Just because, I mean, we can look back to games such as Mass Effect. What's the most popular character throughout most RPGs? It's the melee fighter. It's the guy on the front lines. The soldier in Mass Effect was the most popular, which I always thought was the most boring one to play. But people like their melee combat.
I just want to shoot all day. Let's see. Preferred role. You like tanking, right? That's kind of your beef.
Yes. If I'm going PvE, I love tanking. That's
okay.
my thing.
Well, no surprise here that DPS is well above everything else. Everyone loves dealing out those numbers. And of course, healer being the lowest on the totem pole, which is fine by me because I'm going to be healing and I like to be able to find a group in a split second. Yeah, because everyone's looking for me.
Well, if healing pans out like it should be, you know, we're looking at a healing that is much more involved. The reason that healing will consistently rank low on any poll you ever take out on an MMO is because it's like watching paint dry. It is really boring to a lot of people.
You're just looking at those raid frames, watching people's health go down. Up, need to hit a heal. Okay.
Yeah, and it's not very popular playstyle because of that. I mean, people really get into it, but not many. And so the Elder Scrolls Online is seeking to really change that with their more involved healing. As a healer, you're not going to be that person hiding and cowering in the back with his squishy cloth robes. You're going to be the guy up front, in the middle, in the action, actually getting those heals off because they're mostly conal effects and stuff that is in your immediate area. So we'll hopefully see that change. If ZeniMax did their job right, we're going to see that change post-launch.
It's going to be awesome. Let's go down into elements of ESO we are most interested in. Being that, you know, a lot of these people are test fans and everything, no surprise that exploration and, well, let's just go. Exploration is definitely the highest one on there.
Sure.
Because everyone wants to just go around and see the world. Its beauty
is the Elder Scrolls. You play that adventure fantasy that you can go be anything you want to be in a world that feels limitless in every possible respect.
And just below that is small group PvE, something that people have wanted in a test game for so long. They'll finally be able to experience it within ESO, being that it is an MMO. So I'm no surprise there that just so many people have wanted to do that, and they are very interested in doing it in this game.
The Elder Scrolls Online tagline: explore all of Tamriel with your friends.
Is that the tagline?
Yes.
Okay. Now, a surprising thing here was the question about guilds and how many people anticipated they would be joining. So many people were actually just wanting to join one or maybe a maximum of 3. I know I'm going to be in 5 guilds all the time. I'm just going to want to have all those people that are interested in different things so I can participate in as many different aspects of the game as I possibly can.
I think you have to admit, even though you'll be in 5 guilds, there'll be that one guild that really meshes with you, particularly in your play style. And I feel like that tends to be the popular trend of these MMOs, and I think maybe that's what was affecting this poll. Although they might be involved with other guilds, maybe it's more for trading or small things here and there, not so much as, like, there's usually that core group of gamers that you become your online internet friends that you like to play with. I mean, can you see that happening with you?
No, for sure. I'm definitely going to have a main guild that I will be participating in. Do you think maybe it comes down to loyalty and whether your loyalty will be questioned if you do start joining other guilds?
I think that would be pretty funny. Maybe if you were joining some role-playing guilds, you know, like you're part of an all-Khajiit guild, but this Khajiit guild is very, very racist. They don't like any other races in the Aldmeri Dominion. So if you join an Altmer guild or something, they're like, yo, you were betraying your people, son.
You son of a bitch.
You son of a bitch. Exactly.
Yeah. I just know I'm going to have 5 guilds. I'm going to want more. I'm going to want like 10 guilds just so I can have a guild.
You, sir, are a whore.
Maybe yes, but I want a guild for specific things, you know, that excels in specific things. So if I know I want to go out and do PvP, I'm going to go in with my guild that does strictly PvP. So they're going to be awesome at it. And then the same thing goes for dungeons or trading or crafting or whatever else. So I don't see a problem with it.
Polygamy's fine. Polygamy's fine.
I don't even know why they asked this question because it's such an obvious answer. But they asked, do you want ESO to be more like a traditional MMO or more like a test game?
I don't know. That is a tough one. That is tough.
Yeah, it's tough. Well, 64% of the people said, more like a test game, please.
Honestly, I'm surprised it wasn't more.
Yeah, that's true. All right, now the biggest...
I'm sorry, just if you want a traditional MMO, go play a freaking traditional MMO. They're all over. That's what most of the market are traditional MMOs. Leave the Elder Scrolls Online to the test fans, I think, more than anything. I mean, I love MMOs. I've played 12 plus MMOs in my time, have years and years put into these MMOs. I put 6 years into World of Warcraft, another year into SWTOR, and it goes on. But the Elder Scrolls Online needs to be something special and unique, and it's that Elder Scrolls that's really going to set it apart.
I agree. And now let's end this off with the most shocking answer here. Was the question, how do you feel about the announced subscription model for ESO? And half of them were actually happy about the $15 a month. 49.31% said they were happy about it.
I think that is definitely coming from people who have played MMOs and knows what it means to have a subscription. What it means to have a subscription is avoiding the whole pay gate gameplay where you have to worry about, oh, if I turn this next corner, am I going to have to pull out my wallet? You know, that's something a lot of people like to avoid for obvious reasons.
I agree. All right, so let us know what you guys would have answered for these things. I know, personally, for the subscription one, I probably would have picked, I'd rather pay a reduced fee. Because I think 15 a month is ridiculous these days.
What is up with always 15?
I don't
know.
Number. What's wrong with 7 or 5?
Yeah, 5 sounds like so great to me, I think. Like, that's like, oh, that's a trip to Wendy's. $5.
That's because you're cheap.
Hey, I do stick to the value menu. This is true, but...
if you don't, you're a square, right? All right, so let's go on over to the skills. So like I had mentioned, Tamriel Foundry has pretty much the majority of the skills up on their website now. They got the okay from ZeniMax to go ahead and release this information. All the things seen here were things that were pulled from the PAX Prime playtime that they had. I believe they had about 2 hours to play the game, so they pretty much wrote this stuff down. Now, yeah, there are just all the skills basically are up there for all the classes, but that is just way too many skills to be going into in one show. So what we figured we would do was just each week we'll go through one of the classes. So within a month we'll get over all of the abilities that we have listed here. And so that'll just allow you guys to digest that stuff more freely, and we can talk a little bit more in depth in each of the skills. So yeah, let's start off with the Nightblade, which was the most popular chosen class, as we saw in the polls before.
So we know a couple of you are interested in this.
Yeah, so there are 3 trees. We have the assassination... I can say this. I know I can say it. Assassination tree, which is your DPS.
Jeez, look how many S's are in that word.
I know, right? And it has ass in it twice. Then you have your shadow skill line, which is your stealthy skills. And then the siphoning, which is your DOTs, your damage over times.
Yes.
So, we know the Nightblade is the stealthy class.
Yes, this is your, if you're playing Dungeons & Dragons, the classic rogue class. This is your thief, your medium armor type wearer.
Your rogue.
Yes.
So let's go into the assassination tree, starting off with the uber ultimate called Deathstroke, which deals damage to your target and reduces their incoming healing. Now keep in mind, none of these have like the cost for them, so we don't have the Magicka stamina costs. We also don't have the durations for a lot of these things, or how much damage you actually deal. So just kind of keep these like in mind basically as to what they actually do. But yeah, you're not going to have those damage numbers. So sorry, min-maxers, but you're not going to be able to...
Well, even for the min-maxers, I don't even think they want that information at the moment, because think about it. All that stuff is so subject to change. That is the thing they're balancing the most right now, is how much damage these abilities will be doing, how much they will cost. Those are probably changing on a daily basis, probably on an hourly basis. Right now, something probably changed about one of the classes,
probably
damage-wise. So, yeah.
That's true, yeah. All right, well, let's look at just some of the few that kind of caught our eye. Teleport strike, for sure. You teleport to your target, dealing damage, and stun them for a short duration.
Yes.
So that's pretty much your distance, your gap closer. So if you see someone out there in the distance, you can start running up to them, hit that teleport strike, you're right there. You're not only dealing damage, you're also stunning them, allowing you to just unload your attack combos, basically.
Yes, this is your shadow step, exactly right. Closing the distance, so if somebody's trying to close a distance with, say, a ranged archer, be ready as that archer when you're seeing a Nightblade, a guy in medium armor charging towards you, because he might be closer to you than you at first realize.
Yeah. Now, the marked target is also a pretty interesting thing, because one, it pretty much sets everyone's attention to that person. So if you mark that person and you're with your group mates, they're going to see who you're attacking, and then they'll want to go and attack that guy too. So it's not only just, you know, allowing you to deal extra damage to that target, it's also marking that person for the kill.
Yeah. So long story short, assassination, he's your hitman, he's your bounty hunter, he is a single target DPS kind of dude. And from the looks of it, I think he's going to be probably crazy at the burst type damage as well. That's what we tend to see with these rogue types. He's going to be good with the stuns and good with the burst damage, so probably a fun class to play in PvP if you're looking for that single target sort of deal going.
And he also be hated by everyone because, you know, you pretty much pwn them in 2 seconds, and it's not fair. Everyone goes, hacksaw, or whatever like that.
Yeah, that's the thing I'm worried about with any MMO, is this whole idea of locking your enemy down with stuns and stuff. That was something we saw done horribly in a game like World of Warcraft, where, yeah, you could be totally defenseless the entire battle. Imagine spending the entire battle not being able to move at all because you're stunned the entire time. That was fighting every rogue in PvP in World of Warcraft. SWTOR did something better, where they actually had a meter that filled up, so you can only be stunned for just so long until finally, okay, you're immune from stun. I don't know if ESO is going to have anything like that, something that's going to keep that infinite stun at bay.
What I would actually like to see happen is, you know, the dodge mechanic I don't see being used too much besides just getting out of the fire. That's pretty much all I see it being used for. Another use for it would be to allow people to break out of stuns by dodging, because it does take up a lot of stamina to do, so you'll still have that choice. Do I want to break out of this stun by dodge rolling out? But will I have enough stamina to actually do anything afterwards?
Actually, that's right. Zos had said that there's going to be some abilities. Now, I don't know if they're doing it with a dodge roll or something, but there are going to be stamina-consuming abilities that will break you out of a stun, but at the cost of a lot of stamina. So
okay.
that exists somewhere in there for sure. It'll be interesting to see in what form, though.
Yeah. So let's go down into Shadow, which for all of you sneaky people out there are going to love this skill line. Let's start off with the Shadow Cloak. This is the one that allows you to go invisible for a short amount of time.
Yes, completely invisible.
Yeah, so
has that chameleon-like effect to it. So if you ever used a chameleon spell in Skyrim or Oblivion, you know exactly what this looks like. You kind of take on that Predator style, you know, blending in with your environment.
Yeah, this is definitely your oh shit button, basically. It's definitely I think it would be really cool to jump in there with Teleport Strike, do what you got to do, and then Shadow Cloak out of there and basically run away. So yeah, that's pretty much...
That's a great thing to remember, and as we're going through these, you could mix Shadow and Assassination together.
Oh yeah.
You could max out all of these skill lines given enough time. You could invest in every one of these skill lines as long as you're a Nightblade.
For sure. And then Veiled Strike I really like, because this thing, even though it requires stealth to do, it stuns enemies pretty hard and also does a lot of damage. So I'm interested in playing with that as well.
Yeah, keep your eyes on the stuns if you're doing any sort of PvP thing, because stuns are just absolutely devastating in a PvP environment.
Yeah. Let's go down into siphoning, which is, again, your damage over time thing. So these are like, basically, think of them like curses. You throw them onto a person, and their health just slowly ticks away while you're dealing other damage and stuff. So
I wonder if these are going to be more magicka based.
Probably, yeah. Along with Shadow, I think, is also probably going to be a lot of magicka. So if you're playing the Nightblade, don't put all of your points into stamina. You're going to need magicka as well.
Yeah, the Nightblade suggests some sort of magic element to it as well. So be ready to do that. Now,
I think it was Agony, someone was telling me, was like, I guess, the bread and butter of this skill tree, because it has a stun, but it also has a lot of DOTs, and it has a long duration. So if you're looking for just one DOT or something, I think it's Agony. I want to say it's Agony.
Yeah, and again, for the people who aren't familiar with MMOs, I know we already said it before, but DOT means damage over time. So anytime, like say you're poisoning an enemy, and over the duration of 10 seconds, he takes 500 damage. That's a damage over time, and it can be a lot of fun in PvP situations too. Because you could picture a rogue type character, all of a sudden teleporting, striking in, stabby on the healer, and teleports out, and the healer might think he's all safe, but notices that he has a bunch of DOTs on him all of a sudden that he has to heal through. So DOTs takes care of business whether or not you're there any longer.
Alright, so that is the Nightblade, your very stealthy, burst damagey with some DOTs thrown in there in the mix. Very interesting class. I can see why it is the most popular one right now. Whether it stays that way, I don't know, but this is definitely the favorite, I think, of the DPSers out there. So definitely keep your eyes on this. Don't be afraid to just throw some builds together, but leave some room for your actual weapon abilities as well. But yeah, give it a perusal and see what you can do with it. Alright guys, so that was it for the news this week, which means we are going into the developer question of the week. This one is from sound designer Bill Mueller. Bueller.
Hi, I'm Bill Mueller, sound designer on The Elder Scrolls Online, and here's your question of the week. You're sure to have met many memorable characters along your travels in Tamriel, and you're going to meet many more in The Elder Scrolls Online. Imagine you were a character in Tamriel. How would you greet approaching adventurers?
Okay, so if we were a reoccurring character in Tamriel, like a Maik or a Sheogorath,
okay,
what would be our signature greeting?
Oh God,
how would we greet travelers by?
Can I not just take "Hello, traveler"?
Oh, so you're gonna take the polite route. I would be like,
what
empty.
the hell do you want?
Empty your coin purse, or give me your life. Something like that. I'd be a bandit. I'd be a bandit.
I'll have to think about that one.
How about Sheogorath's cousin? I just want to be Sheogorath so bad.
Can I just say, let me guess, someone stole your sweet roll? Can I just say that every time I walk around?
Only say that.
Only say that. That's the only dialogue line I have.
Somebody stole your sweet roll.
Alright, so that was our crappy answers. What would be your answer?
I mean, how are you supposed to answer that?
I don't know. Hi?
What would be my catchphrase? I don't know. What am I known for? What do I do? I don't know.
What up? That's what's my
I would need some time to get a character sheet out and write some amazing backstory for my guy and, like, figure out his motivations and things like that. Then I arrive at a little catchphrase, I would say. But until then, you know, it's spitballing.
Okay, all right. So what would you guys say to your travelers as they come up to you? Let us know in the comments down below.
What are some signature lines from the Elder Scrolls games? What stick out in your mind the most? Like, the first thing I think of is the adoring fan from Oblivion, because he so consistently was annoying all the time. And every time you walk by him, buy a Zora, buy a Zora, buy a Zora! It's the Grand Champion! I can't believe it's you standing here next to me. Every time. That dude actually scared me half to death. I was replaying Oblivion for like the 500th time the other month, and I walked out. I obviously got crowned Grand Champion or whatever. after the arena quest line and stepped outside, and the adoring fan greets you on the way out. But you know how Oblivion's camera is as far as when somebody engages
right on their
in
face,
dialogue.
and it's like zooms
Yeah,
right on
and
their
it
face.
zooms in. So I'm walking out of this door, like just minding my own business, listening to some Jeremy Soule soundtrack. It's all peaceful. I just won the championship. And then all of a sudden, this camera's like, on the ugliest freaking Wood Elf face you've ever seen. Because that adoring fan isn't pretty looking. And he's screaming at you, buy a sword, buy a sword. And I jumped in my seat. I was so afraid.
Oh.
And then I murdered him.
Wow. All right, so that is it for the question of the week. Let's go on over to our community segment, starting off with the questions from the Shodians. First one from Bilal.
Hey ShoddyCast, Bilal here. Quick question. I was wondering if you guys also thought this was a good idea. If ZeniMax could implement a system right before character creation, where it was sort of like a quiz where it could set you up with a faction and a race, for people that didn't know much about ESO but wanted to get into it. Thanks for asking this question. You guys have a nice day.
So, not so much the questionnaire that puts you with like-minded gamers, but a questionnaire that would help you choose a race and faction if you weren't familiar with them.
Yeah, I'm kind of reminded the Fallout style of how you choose your class or whatever. They go about it in a more organic way where you're like, for instance, in Fallout 3, you were taking the GOAT exam, and the GOAT exam asks you a series of questions, and based on your answers, it sets you up somewhere. So say if there was a question, what would you do in your spare time? And then one of the answers is, I bury myself in gallons and gallons of mead. You're more likely to get put as a Nord on the Ebonheart Pact. Or, what do you do in your spare time? I like to enslave other races. You could maybe be put, in one of the houses of the Dunmer.
Oh, wow.
That'd be interesting, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it would be interesting. Probably not going to happen. Instead, what they're going to have is, just a basic summary of what the races are and what the alliances stand for, and you'll pretty much choose from that.
Yeah, any new player that's coming into the Elder Scrolls Online completely with no expectations or no prior experience with the Elder Scrolls as a series is going to choose the race that is the most pretty in their eyes or looks the most badass, whatever just feels right to them. Not so much a questionnaire. I think the RPG players would appreciate a questionnaire for that sort of thing, but then again, the RPG gamers have probably played RPGs like Skyrim and Oblivion, and if they haven't, then, well, I don't think they could call themselves, good roleplay gamers.
Okay. Let's see. The next one is from Sterling Jennings. What's up, man?
Hey ShoddyCast, it's Sterling Jennings. I've got a few questions about PvP and the gearing system within it. First off, if I'm more of a PvE player and I gear myself up that way, do you think that I'll be able to laterally move into PvP without having to switch up gear? What I'm really trying to ask is, do you think PvP gear will have special stats, for instance like in WoW with resilience or PvP power, or do you think the gear will be straight across the board the same? Secondly, I understand that the gear will be bought with alliance points that you'll earn through taking keeps or doing quests or strictly killing other players, but do you think since everyone is put at level cap that the gear will be level cap equivalent gear, or do you think it will be scaled down to your true level? For example, if I'm a level 10 that joins PvP, gaining points and grabbing a piece of gear, will it be a level 10 piece or level 50 piece? Maybe they could just scale it down when you exit PvP. I don't know. Just wondering your guys' opinion, and keep up the great work. I'll see you in Cyrodiil.
I think scaling armor is a very cool idea. I've seen it done in MMO before. World of Warcraft had these items that you could actually purchase and would level along with you, stat-wise. So, I mean, it would be great because the work you actually put into PvP could then translate to, still your leveling experience if you decide to do PvP before level cap, which I think a lot of people will do.
Well, then it needs to be really ugly armor, honestly, because if you're going to give armor to someone that will always be like a top tier armor and it levels with you, then you won't ever need any other armor. Like, that's it. You're done. You're set. So I I think that would be very boring to have armor that just constantly levels with you.
When you word it like that, yeah, it does sound pretty boring.
Yeah, it does. So if it looks like crap, then yeah, then maybe okay, because then people will be like, oh, well, I'm really tired of looking at this ugly piece of armor, so I'm going to go out and look for something better. What I would prefer to see is if they have, like, I don't want to say tiers, but at every 10 levels, they have another piece of armor. So at level 10, you can get a piece of armor. At level 20, 30, 40, there's other types of armor, and you have to be that level or higher to get it. So if you just ding to level 40, you get your level 40 armor, however many points it takes. I'm assuming it would be cheaper the lower the armor is. And then you can use that armor for 10 levels until you reach the next tier, and then you can get that stuff. So I would prefer that kind of system, just so you know you're not always in the same piece of armor. There is always an upgrade. So what about you?
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense what you're saying. The other question was this whole idea of, will the armor I get in PvP, say I spend all my time on PvP endgame, I spend months and months accumulating this armor, then I become a part of this like awesome PvE guild and they like to do raids and stuff. Is that armor going to be equivalent and is going to get me by just as well in PvE as it did in PvP? Because in a lot of MMOs, what we see is armor you get in PvP are really mostly, I mean, they're made for PvP. They're tailored for that.
Right.
And then the armor you get in PvE is likewise tailored to PvE.
Yeah, like, what was it? Resilience, was that the one that, like, took kind of crit out of the equation, or did that lower damage from enemy players?
Resilience is what, say somebody has a 20% crit chance on you. If you had a bunch of resilience armor, you could drop that easily. You could drop that crit chance down to like 10% or something like that.
Yeah, and that was only on PvP gear?
And that was PvP, yeah, that was
Okay.
PvP specific, really, was what that was made for.
Well, anyways, in ESO, there is no PvP specific stat. There's none. So, and keep in mind, any armor you receive anywhere in the game can be crafted. So any PvP gear you get, essentially can be made from any crafter that has the right, schematics or whatever to actually make it. So keep that in mind. No matter where you're getting your armor, it can be made. And again, there is no PvP specific stats. So if that's all you did was PvP and you got this epic gear, you can go and just do some dungeons. Doesn't mean you'll be good at it, because you might not know how to do the dungeon or whatever, but you have the gear for it at least.
That whole crafting thing really makes me think I need to really cozy up to a really good crafter in the game, because I'm not usually ever good at keeping up with my crafting. I usually drop in the leveling. I'm like, oh, it's too much to keep up with, so I end up dropping it. But maybe I should roll a female character just so I can find some like super lonely guy that's like, be like, hey, I'll be your girlfriend if you make me this. People do that in MMOs like all the time.
I'm gonna be playing a female high elf, just to let you know.
Like,
not for that purpose, because, and you hear this from time to time, is like, if I'm gonna stare at an ass for several hours a day, I want it to be a female ass.
See, and I totally understand what people say when they say that, but I have never made females in any of the RPGs that I've played, because when I'm role playing a character, I can't role play a chick. I don't have that skill set on me. Like, I see that as me existing in another world, and I just can't do it as a female. So I always make a dude character. But I think there were actually studies done in World of Warcraft. I had read articles about this, where female players, or even just female characters in MMOs, actually get better prices on things, and people are more likely to help them in certain situations because they're a female character.
Oh man,
it's weird.
I'm gonna be a female healer. Everyone is gonna want me.
Oh man, just make a sexy looking female, and you are good to go. I mean, all the guys buy you drinks, all of them.
Good to know. There's your ShoddyCast tip of the week: make a female character.
Be a female.
And that's actually it for the Shoddy's questions of the week. If you guys have questions, please send them to mailbox@shoddycast.com. We didn't have a whole lot this week. Where are you guys? Come on. You got to have some questions there.
Is anyone there?
Is this thing on?
Is this thing on? Yeah.
All right. So let's go on into the sponsors of the week, which I just want to say, there were a shit ton of you guys, and thank you so much. We are now at 93% of our
man.
goal.
They made it rain. There was $1 bills falling from the sky, and there's Kyle and I dancing with our shirts off. Ah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. There's a picture for you.
Ugh.
Save that.
Ugh. It's ingrained. All right. So, first donation from Mark Dixon.
Hermaeus Mora.
Lovely. Thank you, sir.
Wait, I was just yawning. That wasn't.
You didn't say it yet?
Yeah.
Alex Sotelo makes a return. Hello there. Oh boy, let me just say there are a ton of names I'm not going to be able to pronounce, so bear with me.
I wonder if they're foreign or if they just got some...
Okay, when they have accent marks, I don't even know what they are. Yeah, they're going to be foreign.
Okay.
Okay. So a couple new donors here. Here we go. Juha. I don't even know if it's a J sound. Tinen. Yeah.
They need to start putting like the
phonetic?
punctuation. Yeah.
Give us the
help us
phonetics
out.
to your names, please.
We're too white.
Next donor from Nurag Shivak. I'm going to say that's a K sound.
Sure.
Thank you. Matthew Benton. Man, I don't think I said that one right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Samuel Parker. Hello there.
And you put ×2.
Because he donated twice. What?
Wow.
There's a few of those. I'm
like
not sure what was going on
Uber
there.
generous. Thank you very much.
A person we knew only as B Black. Apparently his name is Brian. So hello, Brian. Nice to know your first name now.
Greetings.
Derek Fillion. Hello there, new donor. Thank you. And Sterling Jennings. Hello there once again.
Malakath.
Very nice. Thank you, sir. Glad you're back. I'm assuming you're not going around doing your marine thing. Or
Yeah,
whatever it is you do.
he's fighting the bad guys, man. He's fighting the good fight, as Three Dog would say.
And Jacob Slapinski.
Oh, it's a new Dragonborn. Jacob, the Greybeards have called you to High Hrothgar. You are no longer a mere mortal. No, you are infused with the soul of the Dragonborn.
Awesome. And he says the Elven Master race in a semi-role-playing PvP guild, whether you're an officer or a tactician, a knight or a warrior, a healer or a mage, everyone has the identity and a role to play in the Elven Master race. And
Elven Master Race. I'm doing a Hitler thing.
Don't
Can't
do
see
the
it.
Hitler thing
No,
here,
I'm
man.
so sorry. There goes our Jewish audience. Dang it.
And you can go to the website elvenmasterrace.engine.com.
Yes.
All right. Next one is from Gabriel Bridges, and he says, just wanted to say I love the Elder Scrolls lore series. You guys do. I look forward to your ESO weekly updates for my ESO fix as much of us do. Am I reading that right?
Yeah, you got it.
Okay, good.
Words are hard.
They are.
Especially when you have to put them together in sentences.
Yeah, I'm not good at that. Can't wait to look down in a brother's... Okay, wow. I'm not reading this at all. You read that.
Can't wait to look down in the field of battle at my bloody Khajiit Pauls. Ooh. Looking up only to cast a smirk at my ShoddyCast brothers standing beside me, laughing at all the Ebonheart bodies lying around. As always, for the Queen! That was epic, dude. My bloody Khajiit Pauls. That dude needs to write for some lore stuff. That'd be great.
Nice.
Need some short stories out of him.
Another new donor here, Griffin Thanatosian, maybe. He says, hello. Oh, man, this is the one. Okay, he's like, you guys have to read this, don't you? He made it like I was saying
great.
it. Okay, these aren't my words. Let me just say. Even
Kyle's a puppet right now. He's just been made a puppet.
Okay, think of it as Mass Effect, and now Harbinger is taking over my body. Okay. Hello, I'm Kyle, and I represent the ShoddyCast Bros. I just want to randomly say that I swear my undying allegiance to the Daggerfall Covenant and the master player Griffin Thanatosian. And I spit on the Queen's general direction. Wow.
No.
I'm totally not being paid to say this, but my brother and I do make awesome videos.
Dude, you need to take a shower after that. You gotta feel dirty.
Dirty.
You've just been violated. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry.
Okay, the Harbinger just left. Okay, bye Harbinger.
That was cruel. That was cruel, but very amusing.
Yes. Josh Kane donates and says, Been watching your show since 21 Reasons. Your show is informative and entertaining. Thank you, and keep up the quality work. P.S. For the Queen! Can we just get a soundbite of that and put that in every time?
Yeah. My throat's kind of sore.
A new donor, Patrick Harvest. Let's go with that. He says, I am not a mere mortal. I am. He's like Jesus.
I am. I think I am.
No. What is that from?
I don't even remember.
That wrestling thing with Jack Black?
Nacho Libre,
Yeah.
maybe? Oh, man, that's been a while.
Hats off to you guys for doing what you do. Shout out. Forza Bayan, maybe? We'll go with that. All right. A donation from James Shaw says, Humble Khajiit welcomes you to experience great wealth in exotic lands as you and your fellow Khajiit travel the world of Tamriel, sell your wares to the peoples of the land and find great riches. Offer your strength in exchange for funds as you guard caravan merchants. Or for the exploratory type, seek out materials and sell them for gold to our caravan's wealthy craftsmen. Whatever you choose, caravanners of elsewhere will provide you with the greatest gift of all, coin. Visit us or find us at caravannersofelsewhere.guildlaunch.com, and may your road lead to warm sands.
You have coin, Khajiit has wares.
And Justin Sudacum,
Dragonborn.
and he says a very long message of Long live the Queen! James DeAnne returns and says, I am looking forward to each episode of the lore series and story time. Keep up the excellent work.
We will. Thank you very much for your coin.
Indeed. And the man with the long name who says we can just call him Mike.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you so much.
Wir ShoddyCast og vi elsker ESO. What was that? Was I speaking dragon tongue, or was that something else? I don't know what that was. He says, it says, we are the ShoddyCast and we love ESO. Oh, that was in Norwegian.
Oh, okay.
He says, my question of the week is, if I get to level cap and have spent all of my points in stamina and some HP, and now I really regret my choices, will I be able to choose again? And if so, what are the penalties? Love your videos. So they were talking about this before. I don't know, though, if they're going to allow you to reset those points. But they said that there was going to be some kind of system in place where you can refund your skill points.
Yeah, you can retrain them, and they want it to be something that you actually have to work for to do. So, yeah, time will tell what that is.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, so new donation from Barry Reed. Owl Wolf Legion, Owl for short. Veteran Australian-based Fresh Start Guild. You can visit them at owlwolflegion.guildportal.com. They are for mature PvP, PvP, AVA, RP, and crafting Ebonheart players. We play for fun and keeps. I get it.
Mature. Yes. With my cup of tea. Because mature
Wow,
people
okay.
drink tea.
New donation from Asger Hulgard. And he says, the Danish guild solutionguild.dk is recruiting for Daggerfall Covenant, but only for Danish players. And they say, great podcast, guys.
Danish only. Keep out.
Danish only, keep out?
Yeah.
Okay, there was a comma there, right?
Yeah, there's
okay.
a comma.
Okay. A new donation from Darren Rugenstein, or Stein. We'll go with one of those. Oh, man, I got to read some dragon tongue here.
Ooh. Speak it like Parthenax.
Findova, Wirtu hin rute, Tingvak hin rute, Ark Zuveniknak.
Sound Dothraki. It's awesome.
Hio nus hio kas, Gulskren harik nak. Cruisin' voth. What is that, ketchup?
I think it is. It's spelled like ketchup.
Oh god, I just went lightheaded, no joke, for doing that.
Oh my gosh, all that blood rushing to your...
Plus I haven't eaten breakfast yet. The dragon approves. Praise. Oh my god, you gotta do it. Seriously, I'm going lightheaded.
You're about to pass out.
Yeah, go.
Reading the dragon tongue takes a lot out of you.
Go.
It's that inner voice. It's the tongues, man. I don't even know where you left off. The dragon approves... Oh, do I need to say it like Parthenon?
I guess.
The dragon approves praise of your words. Speak your words, and I promise will not eat you through, but wait, why is he putting a bunch of words in brackets? Am I supposed to read the bracketed words?
Because he like pauses, I think, and he says, will, or something. I don't know. Just read it.
Okay. Oh, I get it. Okay, so it's supposed to be read, the dragon approves, praise, of, of your words. Speak your words, and I promise, Will, not to eat you, though. But you are crunchy, Stonebreak, and taste. Eat good with ketchup.
Oh, yeah, it was ketchup.
It was ketchup.
Oh my God,
Wow.
These are getting longer and longer every week. Justin Smith says, a storm is gathering as hordes of Almerian Daggerfall approach. So stands the mighty dragon, a stalwart champion against the onslaught. There is but not who can stand against us. We accept in our ranks only the best of the best. We who should choose to stand with us should step forward and be tested. So show us what you are made of. Drop off an application at bloodispower.com and prove that you are fit to stand with us in the high falls of Cyrodiil. You're going to read this last one before I pass out.
I don't want to.
Do it.
I don't want to, though. He says he speaks blasphemy.
Well, this donation is from Logan Nickel, and he says,
10 years ago, an alliance was formed between the slaves of a greedy Dunmer landowner and his enemies, a tribe of nomadic dark elves. They fought against him together and were victorious. Following the signing of the Ebonheart Pact, the leaders of these two tribes have come together to form the Banescale Fellowship, an organization dedicated to protecting the tribal lifestyle of the Argonians, Dunmer, and Nords from threats within and without. The Banescale Fellowship is a heavy RP guild, North America-based PC megaserver. We're seeking founding members, especially Argonians and Dunmer interested in role-playing, the prologue to our guild's storyline on the guild forums. You can find us at banescalesfellows.engine.com. We will link that so you guys can see it. Oh gosh. Obligatory death to the queen.
oh, awesome.
I need to wash my mouth out with soap.
Yeah, I got some Listerine in there if you want it.
Yeah, the queen's gonna have really mixed messages when we go in at launch. She's gonna be, wait, you're my greatest supporters because you're for the queen, but then you're constantly like wanting death upon me.
I guess. I don't know. Anyways, if you would like to be a sponsor for the ShoddyCast, head over to our website, ShoddyCast.com, and you will see a donation button on the right-hand side. Donate $10 or more, and you can leave a promotion for us to read out. Now, okay, I'm going to have to do it. Please, guys, shorten your messages down to just a couple sentences and not run-on sentences. If I have to do a character limit, I'm going to do it, but you guys need to shorten these things down.
So wait a second, these people are throwing their money at you, and you're like, restrictions.
Yes, but when it takes 30 minutes to read them all, we're gonna have to shorten these things down.
I think it's fair. I think the people will agree. Okay. Anyway, all septums that are donated to the ShoddyCast are put back into the ShoddyCast. We keep our grubby fingers off of that money. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of ESO Weekly. You have been watching the ShoddyCast. Don't forget to like this video and share it with everyone you know. I have been Josh.
And I'm Kyle.
Don't forget to remember the Chalamo. We'll catch you later.
Boy.
Yes, Maik loves books and loves the ShoddyCast too. Why not kill many birds with single stone and click the Audible link in the description below. Choose any audiobook from thousands for free. You must trust Maik on these things.